Good morning, this is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here in Yeshiva Samanapshi, located in Yerushalayim Kodesh. We're located on Movavi number 6 in the Beit Knesset of Kaneki Yeshivas, not too far from the central bus station, so you can walk from there, take a bus, drive if you have a car. If you come in Quds Lawrence, please, we'd love to have you participate in the shirin. We're designed to make your visit to Eretz Yisrael and Yerushalayim as gratifying and enriching as possible, especially in Torah. So please, we're here for your service. And we're learning Pirkei Avos right now, the first year of the day. First Mishnah, actually, first Pirkei, second Mishnah. We're starting with the second Mishnah this week. I'll just read the first Mishnah. Whereas we Lou, you want to read the first
very top
commentary? That's the quote of the Mishnah, right on the very top, number 1.
Shimon Hatzadik Haya Mishirei Knesset. Shimon Hatzadik was from the class of the Knesset.
Mishiri, we're going to see about what the Mishiri means from the remainder of the Knesset
Hagedolah. Who Haya Omer, he would say, Al Shlosha, on 3 Devarim things, Ha'olam, the world, Omed stands. Al HaTorah, on Torah, Va'al HaAvodah, and on service, Va'al Gimilus Chasadim, and on good deeds.
Very good. Okay, so the second Mishnah here is speaking about Shimon Tzaddik. He was the next in the continuation, the chain of the Masorah. As the first Mishnah said, Moshe Kibul Torah Messinai Masul Yeshua, transferred the Torah that Moshe got from Kadosh Baruch Hu at Har Sinai to Yeshua, and Yeshua transferred that to the Zikanim to the Nevi'im. Right, then the Nevi'im gave that over to the Anshe Knesset of Gedolim. So now Shimon Tzaddik, he was the Misharei Knesset of Gedolim. He was from the remainders of the Anshe Knesset Gedolim. What does that mean? We're going to try and explore in a few days, maybe less. What does it mean, Misharei, the remains of the Anshe Knesset Gedolim? The next commentary is Rashi's Perish on this Mishnah in Avos. Go ahead.
Shimon HaTzadik, Kohen Gadol Haya. Shimon HaTzadik was the Kohen Gadol, was the high priest. Mishirei Lashon Shiraim.
Yeah, so Mishiri is Lashon, and it's an expression, right? What is Rashi trying to explain? What does it mean Shiri? What does it mean she's Mishiri Knesset Gadol? What does it mean she's Mishiri Knesset Gadol? So Rashi is Mishiri is Lashon Shirim. Shirim, the literally like leftovers. Yeah,
the Rebbe's table, right? But
you're right. Leftovers. Yeah, Shabbos leftovers. Go to the Rebbe's table.
You're right.
Right. The leftover was so we don't refer to him as being one of the leftovers, like with the remains of the Knesset Gadol, the Anshe Knesset Gadol. Kolon, but that means to say.
As to say, the sof in the end, shalo, that not haya was. Amahem, Imahem, with them,
or amongst them,
B'techilas, Habayis, Habayis, with the first of the house,
at the beginning of the
house, Bimei Ezra, in the days of Ezra. Oh, the beginning of the second temple.
Right.
So he wasn't there with them in the beginning?
Apparently not. Apparently from what Rashi says.
He was a newcomer, basically, of the
Right, so that well, we're going to have to try and determine that. We'll see what the other Mefarshim explain.
I was under the impression that so was the end of the Anshe Knesset Gadol, but he's saying it's not.
Yep, like see, Rashi is a little bit not what I also thought as well. Let's just look at the Rashi again. Shimon Tzaddik, Kohen Gadol Haya. First of all, so he was a Kohen Gadol. Okay, fine. And as we learned previously, he was a Kohen Gadol for 40 years. 40 years. And whether he was the first Kohen Gadol, right, after the Bias Shani or not, I'm not sure, we'll have to try and, I could jump down, okay, jump down to number 8. You see, there's the last, the base of here, that's the Meiri, is a Rishon, yeah? Mesechtes Avos, this is his explanation here. So let's take a look in contrast to this with Rashi. Go ahead, you want to continue?
Shimon HaTzadik, Haya, Mishirei, Knesset HaGedolah. What's this abbreviation?
Ratzul Oimer. Ratzul, that means, literally, that means to say.
It means to say, Me Achroni Nehem.
Now, he wasn't, so the question is, was he the one and only Achron, like was the last of them? Or there were others around with him that were also the last remaining members of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, but he had certain precedents we'll discuss later on, what his precedents are amongst them of the last ones. Or was he the one and only last, I mean, he was the last of the last. Right, so according from the Mashma from the Meiri, Ma'achronim, there were others also there who may have even lived longer than him, perhaps, it's not clear, right? But he was not the only remaining person left over from the Anshe Knesset Gedolah. There were others there as well. But he has precedence amongst them all because he's included in this Mishnah and Avos. And he's mentioned as being, right, Mishiri Knesset Gedolah. And actually, the Lashon Mishiri, from the remainders of the, there's others as well. He wasn't,
He was one of them.
one of them, right? That's what the Meiri say, Ma'achronim. Right? Ratzulom Nahachronim. He was from the ones that were the last.
He was Hawaya Acharon.
He didn't say anything Achron. He didn't say the one and only last one,
So
right?
this is Achronim as in the group of people called the Achronim?
Well, no, this is the group of the.
He was one of the old timers.
Yeah, of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, he was the last of the last ones. He was the last of. Now he wasn't not necessarily the one and only last remaining one of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah. Right? Again, the Anshe Knesset Gedolah consisted of 120 Zikanim, and there were many Nevi'im prophets with
What
him.
I'm asking is, was he an Achron?
No, Achron is referred to a person who, Gadol Yisrael, a taller scholar, tzaddikim that lived within, say, the last 400 years, 400, 500 years. Right? This is going back till over 1,500 years.
Okay.
Until what time did the
I see.
Anshe Knesset Gedolah function? When did they cease to function?
That's not clear to me. I'm not sure.
Were they there from Shammai, Hillel to Shammai? Were they there?
There were some of them there. We learned previously that
Or was this like the Sanhedrin over there?
Malachi was the last of the prophets.
Right.
He was even at the time of the after the Korban. He could have been alive even until after the time of the Korban, which would mean that he might have been the Achron of the Achronim. Right? Shimon Tzaddik lived up until and through just before the time of Alexander the Great, and they passed that.
Oh, that's right, that's a famous story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Okay, so let's see. Ratzul Ma'achronim. That means he was from the remaining last ones, not necessarily the only single remaining last one, but he was from the group of the last ones of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah. Let's see what he says. Continue on.
Sharei hu haya, that he was, v'techilas, benayin, from the first of the children.
Binyan Habayis.
Binyan Habayis, from the first who were building the second temple.
Right, so he was from the Achronim, that they were those who were there at the beginning of the Bayis Sheni. Now, contrast that to Rashi. Is Rashi saying that? Right? Rashi says, Mishari Loshin Hashirim, a Loshin of the remainders. Kaloimer, that means to say Besoif, that means at the end. Shalo Haya Imohem Betchilas Habayis B'Yimei Ezra.
He was not with them. That's contradicting.
Seems like there are two explanations over here. Do you agree with Rachamin?
Yeah. Shimon Tzaddik lo haya, he wasn't there?
He says Mishar, right? Kalon B'Soif. They were there at the end. Shalo Haya Imohem Betchilas Habayis B'Yimei Ezra. He wasn't there, right, with them at the beginning of the Bayis Sheni in the time of Ezra. So it's
that
mashma
makes
that Rashi's saying that Shimon Tzadik was not there at the time of the building of the Bayis Sheni when Ezra built it. He came somewhat later. But the Miri's saying here, right?
He was.
Ratzlam Nachronim, Shaya, Hu Haya Betchilas Binyan Bayis Sheni. He, meaning Shimon Tzadik, was there at the beginning of the Bayis Sheni. You go ahead. Hu Haya Kohen Gadol.
Who Hayat Kohen Gadol, he was a Kohen Gadol, that would agree. Acher, after Ezra.
Mashma that Ezra was a Kohen Gadol. I didn't realize that.
I didn't either.
Yeah. Maybe he was.
It was right after him, or?
Apparently he was the Kohen Gadol after Ezra, according to the Miri, right?
So
Right.
then so this source is saying that he was later than the beginning of the building of the place.
Well, he was there at the beginning. According to the Miri, the last source we have here, number 8, Miri, he's saying that he was there at the time of the Binyan Bayis Sheni, and he was the Kohen Gadol after Ezra. And Ezra was maybe perhaps the first. Ezra primarily was responsible for the building of the Bayis Sheni.
Oh, right.
And it's new to me. I have to check it out. I'm sure if the Miri is saying it, but it's mashmas. He's not saying. He says that Shimon Tzadik was Kohen Gadol Ache Ezra. Mashma that Ezra was also a Kohen Gadol, right?
Right.
Have to try and verify that. But if yes, why not? No difficulty with that. But he seems to be saying differently than Rashi. That Miri is saying that he was there at the beginning of the Binyan Bayis. And Rashi seems to think that he wasn't there at the beginning of the Bayis. Okay, we'll have to just keep that on our.
If he wasn't there, it could be a Kohen Gadol.
Well, no, he came later. He obviously came later.
According to Rashi.
Yeah, he certainly came later. That's for sure.
according to
He wasn't
both.
there. Well, Ezra,
He was the Kohen Gadol after.
after Ezra, right?
Hu Haya Omer, he would say, what is this abbreviation?
Oh, okay. So this actually, who are you, Omer, Vayichulu, and that means etc. Literally means etc.
Okay.
Right, let's leave the rest of the Meiri because that's going to go on to the things which he said. Right now we're just trying to determine who Ezra and Shimon Tzadik was. Okay, so let's just again review the Rashi, right? Shimon Tzadik Kohen Gadol. He was a Kohen Gadol. He didn't say he was necessarily the first one, but he says Mishari. That he's explaining Mishari. That's Lashon Shi'urim, leftovers, remains. Kilomar, what's the remains of what? So if he remained at the end, Shelo Hayi Iman B'Tchilas Bayis B'Mei Ezra. He wasn't there at the beginning, right? At the beginning of the Bayis at the time of Ezra. Okay, but the Mirror seems to say a bit different. Let's take a look now at number 3, the Magen Avos L'Rashbats, right? And they'll explain here, right? Now he's going to be going explaining Rabbeinu Shlomo. That's referring to Rashi, okay? Rabbeinu Shlomo that's how we write, right? Rabbeinu Shlomo, Rashi, right? Rashi is Reish Shin, Rabbeinu Shlomo, right? Right, Rabbeinu Shlomo.
Zal, the blessed memory, Kasav wrote, Shelo Haya Imahem, he wasn't with them, Bimei Ezra, in the days of Ezra, B'Techi Blas Habayis, in the beginning of the second temple.
Okay, so he's basically, right up till now, he's quoting Rashi. So he's reinforcing Rashi said. And Rashi said, Shimon Tzadik was not there at the actual beginning of the Bayis Sheni.
The Emet, and really, who, Shelo, he was not Haya, the Chilas, in the beginning, Habayis. And really, it's true, he was not at the beginning of the Bayis.
Which is a bit contradictory to what apparently what the Meiri is teaching us. We're at number 3, Amon. Number 3.
Yeah.
Aval, but Miklau, according to the general rule, Knesset.
Miklal means he was included.
Oh,
But
but
he was included.
he was included in the Knesset Hagdolah. Shekablu, that he received May Hanaviim from the prophets. Haya, it was.
Okay, so
So he was one of the prophets, or he got...
no, he wasn't. I believe he was not one of the prophets. because prophecy came to an end at the time of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah. Right? There were a few remaining prophets that were included in the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, but those were the remaining few end of the prophets. Period. At the beginning of the Vayesheni, that's when prophecy really came to an end. And so he's reinforcing Rashi, right? He's saying that he was not there at the time of Ezra when the Bayis Sheni was being built. However, nevertheless, right, even though he wasn't there at the beginning of the Bayis, nevertheless he was still included in the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, that those were the ones who received the transmission of the Torah from the Nevi. Okay?
Okay.
So the Anshe Knesset, look, it continued after the Nevi'im died?
No, who asked the question also, when did the Anshe Knesset Gedolah cease to exist?
Right.
So that's not clear to me exactly,
Okay.
when it actually had a formal ending. Meaning the way I understand it, Ezra, when he brought the Klal Yisrael back up from Babel to rebuild Beis Vayesheni, so he had formed this group called the Anshe Knesset Gedolah.
Right.
It was, as we said, it was different than the Sanhedrin. Right? It had different. It was like, as just a parable analogy. It like was the legislature. It wasn't the court. The Sanhedrin was like the court. Anshe Knesset was like the legislature. They had to decide and make certain rules and regulations, decrees and enactments. Right? Whereas the Sanhedrin, really, they're the ones that carry out. They judge the law. Right? They judge the law. So it's different from the Sanhedrin. The Sanhedrin also has to be of 72, and we know the Anshe Knesset Gedolah was of 120. Okay? So they had their job of setting up Klal Yisrael in a way that now they returned from Golus, exile, to Eretz Yisrael to Yerushalayim. They wanted to set up Klal Yisrael in a way that it would continue to exist even through the second bias and even after the destruction of the second bias and the exile to the four corners of the world. Right? So that was their job. Now when their job came to an end, and what happened, did they disperse? What happened? So that's not exactly clear to me. I haven't found any information about that. If I discover anything, I'll let you know. Okay? But now here we're talking about the Shimon Tzaddik, who was Mishari Knesset Gedolah. He was one of the remainders of the Knesset Gedolah, right? Shemei Sekulam. Let's see now the continuation of the Magen Avos.
And when all of them had died, Nishara, HaKabbalah, Biyado, they received
Biyado, that's singular, right?
something in their
Well, Biyado is singular.
In his
so
hand.
In his, meaning this is a reference to Shimon Tzaddik. Meaning Shemeis Kulam, when all of those of the Anshe Knesset Gedolah were passed on, right? So the Kabbalah remained in his hand, right?
Shehu Gam Cain Kabel Me HaNevi'im, because he also received it from the Nevi'im.
Right.
So I guess he was the youngest.
Again, it's not clear whether he was the youngest. It's not clear if he was the one and only remaining. He was the last. Apparently, from
Well, doesn't the fact that it says that once they had died, that he was among them,
Right.
they all went off and he was left.
it's somewhat. You can make an inference from the Magen Avos that he was the last, perhaps. Although from Rashi and perhaps even the Miri, it doesn't seem to indicate that he was actually the one and final last one. That's one of our questions. Was he amongst the last ones, or was he amongst or was he the one and final last one? That's not clear.
But do we think that this particular source is saying he was the last?
It seems to indicate it a bit. Right, when they all died, right, it remained the Kabbalah in his hands, right? Shu Gam Kain Kilum Nevi, because he also received it from the Nevi, right?
Right.
So they had a Sanhedrin in his days?
Excuse me?
They had the days of Shimon Tzaddik, they had a Sanhedrin there?
The Sanhedrin for sure, but the Anshe Knesset Gedolah, the prophets, they also had. He was there when there were prophets, for sure.
Don't forget, he was there for 40 years, it was very stable.
He was,
When he stopped, I think, everything fell apart. Every 2 years, they used to change the Kohen Gadol, the done inside. It was
But
never-
Kohen Gadol-
40 years was later.
It was but stable.
yeah, so,
Stable.
but again, you have all three, you have three things going on here. You have the Anshe Knesset Gadol, like I said, they were like the legislature, okay? They were like the legislature. Then you have the Sanhedrin, they were like the court. And then you have, like, the Kohen Gadol and the Kohen Gadol, that was the Avoda. That was the Avoda, that was the Beis Hamikdash, right? So
Right.
he played a part in at least two of these. We see from Furst, he played a part in two of these aspects. He was the Kohen Gadol, so obviously had a strong hand in the running of the Beis Hamikdash.
And he was Mutzlach.
And yeah, he was a tzaddik.
Every year that they were
It's
changing.
called Shimon Tzaddik. Everyone's called tzaddik. Shimon Tzaddik. He was a tzaddik. So, and he was Mutzlach, sure, of course. He led the culture. He was successful. He was.
Because he was the only one 40 years. Nobody just, I think he was the only one 40 so many years.
Second bias at least. Yes, Matisiano.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but why would we need the legislature if we have the Torah? Okay, legislature's job's to enact laws. Why do we
Right.
need to enact laws if we have somebody that gave us all the laws?
Okay.
Who's gonna make sure that we follow them?
Police, courts. I mean, why do we need somebody to make laws?
Because we learned last week that they get fences around the Torah
I
because
thought the Rebbeim did that.
they're the ones who started it. Because they were
They
afraid.
were the rebellion.
They were the rebellions to begin
They were
with.
the rebellions.
With the
That's
defenses.
the Rabbinus, you know.
Okay.
How better?
As a matter of fact, we had one, we forgotten where we learned it, one of the Mephoshim said that really before the Anshe Knesset Gadol, there were really no Rabbanim. There were no Dinim Rabbanim, meaning people were really left on their own between them and the Torah to do things, and Ezra saw that in Babel, in Golis, that they were making mistakes and were getting and actually being over the laws of the Torah. So therefore they wanted to make a fence for the Torah. That's what they commanded us to do, to make a fence for the Torah.
Did they also create the prayer book?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the Gemara Megillah before it. The Gemara Megillah says that they were those,
That's in my history
they set up the
papers.
Shmon
That's my
Esrei.
history papers.
And Kiddush, Abdallah, many other things that we have.
So the Torah says you gotta pray,
Right.
but doesn't go into detail.
Right.
Mm.
No,
They
they're
went
the
into
ones
all the
that-
detail and laid out the whole prayer book
Yeah.
and what prayers would be in there.
That's right.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue with number 3 in the Rashbat.
Shaharei lo hazkira, that he didn't return.
No, since it has not been mentioned, Haskir,
Haskira.
the Mishnah, in the Mishnah, well, the Mishnah does not mention.
Hashmana, shekibel,
Ma'anshe, Shelo Hizkiya HaMishnah, Shekibil,
so the Mishnah did not mention that it was received, may anshe knesset hagadola.
he's saying like this, meaning,
No paper.
Shimon and Tzaddik, again, we say the first Mishnah says, right, Moshe Kibul Torah Messina, Moshe Yeshua, Yeshua Zakanim, Moshe La'anshe Nevi'im, right? The Zakanim gave over the Torah to the Nevi'im, and the Nevi'im Mosra La'anshe Knesset HaGadol, and the Nevi'im transmitted the Torah to the Anshe Knesset HaGadol. Then we'll just skip, then it says Shimon and Tzaddik Chaim Yishai, Knesset HaGadol. Right? So, the Magen Avos is saying like this, it wasn't mentioned in the Mishnah, Shekibul Ma'anshi Knesset HaGadol. Shimon Tzaddik, right? How did he get the Kabbalah? How did he get the Kabbalah? How was he the next one in line that he received the Torah as it was received from Moshe, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who gave it to Yeshua, right? Who gave it to the Zakanim, who gave it to the Nevi'im, and the Nevi'im gave it to the Anshe Knesset HaGadol. So Shimon Tzaddik, right? Where did he get it from? That's the
I
question.
guess from the Nevi'im, like he was part of the Chesed, I guess he got also from the Nevi'im that were beforehand.
So that's what he says. Kishemei so kulam, when the Anshe Knesset HaGadol were passed from this world, Nishra Kabbalah biyado, the Kabbalah remained in his hands, right? Shu gam kein kibul min Nevi'im, he also received it from the Nevi'im, right? Shahari, what's his proof? His proof is Shahari lo hiskya Mishnah shekibul man shekenesis gadola. The Mishnah doesn't mention that Shimon Tzaddik got the Torah from the Anshe Knesset Gadola. It doesn't say that. The Fishu Nichlal b'Masha Amru HaMishnah Nevi'im Moshe Anshe Knesset Gadola, because he was included in what the Mishnah said that the Nevi'im transferred the Torah to the Anshe Knesset Gadola, and by saying that he was Mishari Anshe Knesset Gadola, we know he's part of that group, and if he was part of that group, he obviously got the Kabbalah from the Nevi'im who had given it to the Anshe Knesset Gadola, because he was a member of the Anshe Knesset Gadola. Anyone who was a member of the Anshe Knesset Gadola had the Kabbalah that they received from the prophets.
What do you mean when you say that? They had the Kabbalah.
The
They had the
Torah.
understanding. They had.
They were taught. They were taught
They were taught by it.
how the Torah has to be transferred from one generation to the next.
That's referred to as Kabbalah.
That's the Kabbalah, right? The Kabbalah.
Kabbalah. The Torah
There's
taught
two
from
kinds of
generation to the next. There's two
Kinds
types.
of Kabbalah. There's
Yeah.
the Kabbalah that you hear about, which is mysticism,
Okay.
and then you have Kabbalah, which is transferring over from generation to generation.
Okay.
And the reason why Kabbalah, meaning mysticism, is called Kabbalah, because that was something which had to be transferred specifically from
Person to person.
the rabbi to the Talmud. It
The
wasn't
rabbi
something
to
which was
the
supposed to
Talmud.
take place in a public setting, had to be done in a private way, because there are many different ways of approaching it and going through it and doing it. So it had to be done in a process of Kabbalah, meaning of one person telling to the other, or in a very limited group.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, the point being made here that it's important for us to know that he was one of the Mishari, he was of the remainders of the Knesset Gadola, which gives him an authoritative status of having received the Kabbalah from the prophets. That's one of the reasons why we're going to be, why it's telling us that we'll see. If you just take a look at the beginning of number 4, then we'll have to stop in a moment or two to begin the next year. It says number 4, that's Derech HaChaim al Avos. That's the Maharal Prague, right? He wrote a commentary on Pirkei Avos. It's called Derech HaChaim, his commentary on Avos. So he says, let's read the first one or two lines here. He says, Shimon Tzaddik, go ahead.
Shimon Tzaddik haya misharei anshe knesset hagadola v'kulei, etc. Yesh lish'ol lama, there is to ask why hotzerech lomar shehaya, something to say that it was Misharei Anshe Knesset Gadola.
Right. Yesh l'shol, there's to ask, Lama chutzrich loimer, there's to ask, why was it necessary to say, meaning why was it necessary for them to tell us, Shahari, that he, Mishari Anshe Knesset, that he was one of the remainders of the Anshe Knesset. Why is that important for him to know that he was one of the remainders of the Anshe Knesset Gadola? So, the Maharal is going to give his explanation, right? But basically, we have an explanation based on the Magen Avos, right, very short and succinct, that we want to know clearly that he also received the Kabbalah from the Nevi'im, because all the Nevi'im transferred their knowledge of what Torah is supposed to be and how it's supposed to be taught from one generation to the next to the Anshe Knesset Gadola. Since he was one of the members of the Anshe Knesset Gadola, he also received that Kabbalah from the Nevi'im, right? So therefore, that's why the Magen Avos says why we know, and it's being told that he received it from the prophets, because it didn't mention that he was one of the members of the Anshe Knesset Gadola. You didn't have to know that, because since it was told to us he was a remaining member of the Anshe Knesset, including in that is that he received it from the prophets. And the Maharal is going to explain in a different way why we have to be taught the fact that he was from the Anshe Knesset Gadola. It's really extra. What do we need to know? What does it matter to us if it's from the Shari Knesset Gadola? Why should that be significant, that we have to be taught that he was one of the remaining members of the Anshe Knesset Gadola? Okay? Continue with that tomorrow, Mitzvah Shabbat.
Amen.